Welcome to another video, and today we're taking a look at the LG 27UL500 27-inch 4K monitor. And price to performance, this is probably one of the best 4K monitors out there, especially for console gamers and editors or anybody looking at a 4K monitor at a really good price. But let's take a deeper look to see why it is so amazing. In the box, you actually get an HDMI as well as a DisplayPort cable, which is pretty cool as it gives you a little bit more freedom to use the cable that you need for your setup or that you have available for your setup, especially if you have lower end GPUs that don't have as many HDMI cables. You can always use the DisplayPort that is included in the box. Then you have your power cable and your power brick, and all of these cables are in white, which kind of fit the theme of the monitor itself, which is also white at the back, but still has the black bezels in the front. Then you have your actual leg and stand, which I thought was a pretty cool looking stand. And also you have your thumb screw at the bottom, which was really cool as it allowed you to actually screw the foot part into the leg itself without having to use any tools. And I was hoping that that would probably be the same thing to actually attach the leg to the monitor itself. But to attach the leg to the monitor, you would still need 2 screws to actually attach those. And for those, you do need a screwdriver. And then of course, if you don't actually use the legs that are included, you can also VESA mount this monitor, which is a 100 by 100 VESA mount. And of course, the VESA mount is not included in the box. The monitor itself has an IPS display, meaning it does offer great quality even at off angles. And the monitor also has a matte finish, reducing those glares and those reflections in the background as well. The monitor has 163 pixels per inch, making it really good for photographers, video editors, and anybody looking for a really sharp and good display. On top of the sharpness, the monitor does have a 98% sRGB color space, which comes pre-calibrated from LG, making it much better than any other monitor that doesn't actually go through the calibration step. And it also means that if you're buying 2 or 3 of these monitors, that they should be more closely calibrated than other monitors out there. And then the monitor also has the ability to display 10-bit color, where the panel is an 8-bit native panel and it reaches the 10-bit with FRC. Now, as far as the brightness goes, the panel goes up to 300 nits, which isn't the brightest panel out there. And especially with HDR content, it left the darker parts a little too dark for me, especially when you are in a lighter room. But as soon as you go into a darker room, the brightness for me wasn't an issue at all. And then lastly, if you use the LG software, you have access to different view profiles, whether that is picture-in-picture or split screen, to use this monitor as a single monitor, but have multiple monitors displayed on it. On face value, this monitor isn't that great for gaming, especially for PC gaming, since you only have a 60 Hz panel, but this makes it really good for console players, as even next-gen consoles only reach 4K 60. As far as the size of the monitor goes for console gaming, it was a little bit smaller, but if you have it on a desk, I really enjoy the 27-inch size, as you can use it for both console gaming and still as a secondary monitor for your PC, so you don't have to go out and buy different monitors. You can use this monitor for your PC as well as your console. The monitor itself does have everything you need for console gaming. It can display 4K at 60 Hz. It does have 5 millisecond response time, which is pretty quick. And as far as ghosting and tearing goes, I didn't have any issues with ghosting or tearing that was noticeable when I was testing it out. And since it is a FreeSync monitor, while using this on your PC, you shouldn't have any tearing issues as well. Onto the controls and connections of this monitor. When it comes to connections, you do have 2 HDMI ports at the back, 1 display, your power connection, and a headphone jack, which you can use to plug your headphones in or connect it to external speakers. At the bottom of the monitor, you do have a joystick which you can use to change your settings, your volume, your input mode, and all of this using a really simple menu system that never felt overwhelming and was really easy to understand. Everything about this monitor felt really good, and it performed really well while testing it out with editing photos, editing videos like these, and also gaming on both my PC and PS5. With a PS5, I really felt I got the most out of this monitor, and I never felt I was longing for anything except possibly a little bit more brightness, especially during the day. The The monitor itself provided everything that I needed, and while editing pictures and videos, I really enjoyed the color space as well as the sharpness of this monitor, as it allows you to get into a little bit more detail and of course color correct a little better. But with all that being said, this monitor isn't perfect, and one of the bigger flaws, for me at least, was the fact that it didn't have the ability to rotate this display or change height, as that could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. But for me at least, this is something I can really overlook, as that really brought down the price of the monitor itself, bringing a 4K monitor in a really reasonable price range. And in my use case, I didn't really need to rotate the monitor or change height. So for me, it was perfectly fine. And if that is something that you don't need as well, then you really don't have to worry about it. And then secondly has to be the brightness for me, as the brightness was a little low, especially during the day. But as soon as you go into a little bit more darker room, the brightness really isn't that big of an issue. And especially at nighttime, the brightness has no issue at all. And you should be able to work on this monitor 100% fine without any issues. Overall, this monitor is a really good option for creative people who do digital art, edit photos, edit videos, who need a little bit more sharpness in their displays, as well as a good color space, and don't want to go out and spend all that money on displays that are really calibrated for those tasks, and just want a good entry-level model that can do everything. This monitor is also really good for anybody looking for a 4K display for their console, especially if you're looking for a display for your desktop, as it is a really good size. And it still comes in at a little bit of a cheaper price than 4K TVs, making it a really good option for anybody looking for a 4K HDR display and you don't want to go out and buy a TV, or you don't want to spend the money of a 4K TV. So if you're looking at picking up any of these displays, be sure to check out Evetech's website. And if you have any questions on this display or any other display, leave them down in the comment section below, or reach out to them directly, as their sales staff should be able to help you with any questions that you have. And then until next time, cheers.